Citizens, it's that time. You are officially in Alert Zone. Welcome to the Alert Zone TV. I'm the Wizard Uncle James. Let's just get right into it. Ladies, we gotta have a talk. This is for everybody, but for ladies in general, but I'm going there tonight. Black women in specific. We need to have a talk. You know, when I started this channel, I said that my niche, just me personally, for me offline, the way I talk to people, I wanted to have a channel that talked about the Second Amendment, but sometime politics and race was going to be involved. Sometime it was going to be everyday life that people don't think about and people don't know about. People may never experience, or nobody around them ever experienced that. And the reason I based that was upon the fact that I moved from a 80% black city to a town where basically black people don't exist. So the culture shock was different for me. But I got a chance to see and talk with people from the white community, the Asian community, the Hispanic community, and even the African community. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Black Americans and Africans, we two different ethnic groups, and we have our own differences. I'm not going to even get into that here, but... And some of the things that I talked to them about over the years, they was like, we never thought about that. And we never even know anybody that went through that. Ladies, when I tell you to get armed, and I tell you, like I tell everybody, part of being on high alert is you got to expect the unexpected. And you got to understand that trouble has a way of finding people, and that sometime you may be expecting trouble from one area and it comes from somewhere else. You know, the mainstream media, for the young people out there who are members of this channel, you guys don't know what it was like before the internet. So before the internet, a lot of people's minds got put into a small bubble because that's all they thought. And that was that. Because that's all they seen. The images that you seen on TV was what you believed until you actually went somewhere else and saw it for yourself. You know what I mean? Why am I talking about this? Ladies, I don't want to get into y'all personal life, y'all dating life, y'all marriage. That's not my business. I am going to say this. You need to be careful about who you deal with. But as I tell you guys here in the Alert Zone, you always have to take your safety and the safety of those around you into considerations. What am I talking about? Is it Adarian Murray down there in Indianola, Mississippi? His mom apparently was having an issue with the father of one of her children. I'm not sure exactly what it was about. And it was enough that she told him call 911, and he called the cops. Let them know what was going on. The cops showed up. From my initial reports, or the initial research that I've done, said that I guess the guy went out the back door. I'm not sure exactly. But the mom was the one who came out first with her hands up. And she told him, there's children in the house. The officers went in there. That little boy did exactly what that officer told him to do. The one, Darian Murray, came out of the room with his hands up, and that officer shot him in his chest. That little kid at 11 years old had a collapsed lung. They said, I think it cut part of his liver, and he had several broken ribs. And that after the kid got shot, his adrenaline took in, and he ran to his mama and he was telling his mama, why did he shoot me? My hands was up. I did what he told me to do. They airlifted this kid, and thank goodness this kid survived. He's supposed to be out of the hospital last I heard. I could be wrong, but I think he's at home recovering or what have you. And, you know, they keep saying that the kid is making a miraculous recovery. This is an issue we're going to have a talk about in this country. And it's an issue that has divided this country, not amongst facts, just amongst principle. Period, point blank. We as a country will be a better country when we learn to live on the facts and logics and not always just the idea, because sometimes the idea can be a fucked up idea. There's people that believe law enforcement is always right. Period, point blank. There's no such thing as an officer ever being wrong. And then there's people that say, hey, an officer can never be in the right. And then there's people that say, hey, we just do the facts. All we want you to do is what you were sworn to do. Let me tell you something. This was a black cop. They come out with his name. You guys can look it up. You can Google his name, the cop. Apparently, the city council voted to put this bastard on paid administrative leave pending an investigation. Now, there's body camera of this, and after 2 days, the attorney requested the body cam, and the police department told him no, and they pulled that. We still investigating. So, what I've always taught you guys and girls here in the alert zone, and if you came from the old channel, you know this already. Anytime they don't release the body camera footage right away, is because they know 9 times out of 10 they're in the wrong. Or they're doing some kind of editing. There's a reason they don't release it like that. Anytime an officer is involved in a shooting and that officer is dead right, hell, he still be at the scene of the him defending himself, and they already releasing the body camera. See, we already understand when there's no transparency, that means the officers is in the wrong, like the whole Tyree Nichols situation. As I told y'all, somebody else had that video and was going to release it. It was out of their control, so they just got out in front of the train. Why am I bringing this up? This lady had law enforcement call to protect her. And yet they came in there and shot her kid. Let me explain something to you out there. To everybody out there in the alert zone. When I tell you on the side of the road is not the place to fight with law enforcement, you see what I mean? Just like law enforcement say they don't take their safety for granted because they don't know you and they going home at the end of the night. You don't know them. So what? They got a badge. That don't mean you know them and their character personally. You don't take a chance on your life. That's why I tell you don't fight them on the side of the road, because you don't know who's behind that badge. You have some that'll let you mouth off and will have an exchange with you. Then you have some that's, I don't want to hear it. Give me your driver license, registration, insurance. They make you sign a ticket, they let you go. Then there's all different types of people behind that badge. And you know what? The officers think about there's all type of people in front of their guns. Let me explain this. Unless the body camera shows different. At this particular time, I shouldn't speculate, but I'm going to. Because the police department or the officer, nobody close has refuted this so far. That kid's hands was up. That guy, first off, that guy went in there looking to kill. He shot him in the chest, sent him ass. You know, for those of you who never been to gun safety training course, they teach you, shoot for the chest, shoot for center mass, don't shoot for the head. I know a lot of times y'all see a lot of guys and girls on YouTube with the head shots and what have you. In real life, the head is smaller than you think it is when you're defending yourself. That's why they tell you shoot for center mass. And Not to say you can't get a headshot, but it's a whole lot harder. You know, if you play them video games, you know that. Getting them headshots is not as easy. You know, a lot of times the headshots be people who walk up on the victim. So, back to what I was saying. He was intending on killing that kid. Yeah, he only shot him once, but he shot him in his chest. With the intention of killing him, he knew there was kids in there. This makes me think about our young baby girl, Aiyana Jones. Shout out to T Electric, Gun Freak Nation. I seen the video of her grandmother testifying in that. That lady was sick, that lady was grieving, and that lady just kept saying to that officer that shot that 7-year-old baby in the head that was sleeping, all I asked you was let me get my grandbaby because she was asleep. I never went for your gun. You know I never did you nothing. I just begged you, let me get my grandbaby. And you shot her in her head. And then you wouldn't even budge to give her first aid. And as she's talking to this guy, he's just standing there with this blank look on his face. And of course he wound up beating the charge thanks to the judge. She just decided, well, I'll take the slings and arrows, but I'm going to drop the case. You know. But he knew that baby was in there sleeping. He shot her in her head. He had a clean, clear shot of a sleeping baby, and that was his intention. I want to give you guys and girls out there a fact. And some of y'all can go out here and Google it. Law enforcement was asked a question. And when, you know, not like every law enforcement officer in the country, but I think it was so many departments, and it was quite a big number of them. And they said this, especially for black males. They said they view a 10-year-old black boy the same way they view a 25-year-old black man, as having the same aggression. So seeing a 10-year-old little black boy, in their minds, they see him as a man. This is why you constantly have them roughing our children up. And I don't want to go into a whole screed about something totally different. I'm just saying. To the mom of this kid, I don't know what was going on, and I know you wanted to call law enforcement to solve this problem. Let me say this. This gonna rub some people the wrong way, but it needs to be said. Before the internet and all that came along when I was a kid, and before black women fully took over the community, when we still had black men around, when I was still a young kid, there was a saying in black society: don't call the police and get them involved in your business, because you'll call them here to solve a problem and somebody will wind up dead. That was the thing that we used to be taught. Sell it amongst yourselves, and it didn't always come down to violence. Sometimes it just came down to you cooling your head and discussing whatever the issue is. But we had that saying, don't get them folks involved in your business. Because when they come here, more times than not, it's always the male they come in here to do something to. Excuse me, you had that story of Michael Craig. His 6-year-old called the police and said his mom had a knife up to his dad's throat. Then this man called the cops and said she got knifed up to my throat. Literally, if I move the wrong way, she's gonna stick me. When they got there to the house, they knew he was the victim. They knew she was the perpetrator, and yet they went in the house, and that officer shot that man and killed him, and stepped right over his body and went to that woman and said, yeah, are you okay? And his partner said, man, what are you doing? You knew he was the victim. Like I said, I wasn't there, and I'm not so much blaming the mom for what happened, but what I'm saying is, you got to get your head out the toilet bowl, man. A lot of times, we make mistakes because we want to believe reality is not reality. You can't keep having certain things happen over and over and over and over and then keep saying, but that's not true. It can't. You can't keep having the same people do the same things over and over and over, and you keep saying, but ain't nothing happening. That's a wrong pattern. You don't know what you're talking about. It can't. That's not logical. Me, listen to your uncle. Ladies, get legally armed out here. You think this kid is traumatized? His mom is going to be traumatized forever. Now, that guy she was having the issues with, I don't know what became of that. But if he got any kind of heart, he's going to be traumatized. He probably didn't mean for that kid to get shot like that. That officer knew there was kids in there, and he went in there with the intent to kill. But I'm telling you that law enforcement has said, because I read all this stuff. I try my best to keep up with the data that they put out there. And, you know, like I told you guys, I'm from New Orleans. When I came up, we had the Jump Out Boys. As corrupt as they was, at least they was honest. And they would say that. I don't care if you're a little boy. Y'all just like men to us. And I'm going to handle you like a man. Even if you did everything they told you to do. For those back to black people, back to blue, what are you going to say about this case? I hope they finally release the video untampered. If the kid moved wrong or the kid done something, is one thing. Because I don't think that kid did nothing that wrong to be shot. I know he didn't have a gun because his mama wouldn't have had him call the police. His mama would have went and gotten her damn pistol. There's a reason they don't want to release that video. This bastard should be fired. He should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And he should have to go to general population. That should be life without parole. That's an attempted murder on a kid. And I saw a picture of this kid. This kid don't look like he's that big of a kid. He doesn't look like one of those kids that's 7 foot when he's 10 years old. He's not one of those type of kids. And even if he was, it doesn't matter. They were told there's kids in that house. Ladies, listen to me. And listen to me good again. We as humans, we all have emotions. Sometimes our emotions get the best of us. But especially in our community, we know better. We know better. With the internet, how many times do you hear the police showed up to do a wellness check, or the police showed up to do one thing and then they wind up killing somebody? A Tatiana Jefferson? Tamir Rice? Sitting in there playing with a toy gun. Cop just rolled right up on him and boom. And asked no questions, nothing. Didn't even get a kid a chance to look up and say, wait, it's a toy. Boom. You'll have to be careful out here. I know we're supposed to dial 911 and we're supposed to get the services that was promised to us, but that's not logical. You know, I saw a fireman that said something. You never hear nobody talk about defunding the fire department because we do our job. I'm not anti-law enforcement. I'm pro-justice and I'm pro-logic. Now, I'm pretty sure this lady didn't think in a million years that officer was going to come up in there and shoot her son. You know, she's going to be second-guessing herself for the rest of her life. Saying, I should have just never called the police. If that guy thinks anything about that little kid, he's going to be saying, damn, I went that far that it almost cost this kid, my child's sibling, his life. This happens a lot more than y'all think it does. This one is just a lot more high profile because the community made it clear y'all not going to sweep this under the rug. It's a goddamn shame that this kid almost lost his life for doing the right thing. And if what the story so far has been told, and there has been no refutation to it. This kid had his hands up and did what he was told to be done, and he was still shot. You understand what I'm saying? And there's more people in law enforcement than you think that feels like this. Ladies, get out there, get legally armed. Protect you and yours. I'm not calling for violence, I'm just calling for you to be able to protect yourself. Because the people who's supposed to come and protect you are showing you that any given time, you can be the victim, and then you can turn around and still lose life, limb, or be shot at, just be traumatized the rest of your life. And you're the victim. Hit me in the comment section and let me know what you think. It's just exhausting, man. It really is. It's really sad to see what happened to this little kid. All because he wanted help from law enforcement. When I did my response to the sheriff out there in Riverside County, California, this is the type of shit I was talking about. About public sentiment changing on them. About criminals. How many criminals you think gonna see this and gonna say, you see why we do what we do? You see why we have no respect for them? This 11-year-old kid did everything he was told to do and almost lost his life anyway. You had that female cop a couple weeks ago lost her life in Chicago. She was able to fire back, but she lost the gunfight. And everybody was in uproar. The Back the Blue crowd was in an uproar about that. But Chicago is the same city where you had the cop running around on camera bragging about he killed motherfuckers. And then they did some research and find out he actually did kill one person on the record. You know that ain't the only body he got on it. He honestly bragged about how he killed motherfuckers. And you know who he talking about he killed. And yet, the streets took that woman. They didn't take him. This bastard that shot this little kid, I saw his picture. He's an old dude too. He's 50 plus. If he ain't over 50, if he ain't over 55, boy, he had a hard life. He looks 50 plus to me. And he shot that fucking little boy in his chest. In my mind, he was intending to kill that little boy. He just didn't unload on him. Ladies, get your firearm, learn that firearm, protect you and yours. Because the people you depended on to protect you, some of them going to show you what they think about you. And it might turn out to be lethal. Stay safe, stay armed, stay on high alert.